Welcome back to the Baseball SEC Nerds Podcast. I am Patrick Brown.
And I'm Daniel Holmes, and this is where we cover all things SEC baseball.
South Carolina is now eliminated from the NCAA tournament, ending their season after a 6-4 loss to NC State. Then in the losers bracket, a 2-0 loss to James Madison. Daniel, please recap these two games for me.
Both the games of the losses, okay. The first one we basically got outplayed. We hit nicely, we pitched nicely, just not nicely enough. Um, I thought we were gonna tie it up in the ninth, but we just didn't. Um, Also, Petrie got injured in the first game, had to be out for the second, but Reeves played pretty good. He hit a home run. Um, well, it was Reeves, right?
It's Brewer.
Brewer, yes, Brewer. I'm sorry, I get them mixed up. He hit a home run, and I think that was basically what Petrie was gonna do. Anyways, maybe he would have done something like a double and a single, but I think it would have had similar production. So, I don't think it messed us up too bad in the second game. But the last game we played in, Petrie came back, but we may have had our best pitching / defense performance of the year. But the hitting was absolutely horrendous, but it wasn't entirely our fault. The umps were pretty bad. I mean, they made bad strikes and balls call, but the worst call was this one call. I don't know what inning it was, but we had a guy on first, and Will Tippett is laying down a bunt. And you know what? Let me just reenact it for you. So Will Tippett, he's laying down a bunt, so he's gonna be running, and it's overthrown, and boom, the ball hits him, and the other guy goes to third. So instead of the umps just being like, "Oh, that wasn't very nice of him," we'll just award the base. They'll be like, "Well, we'll tip it. That was actually your fault because you got interfered with, even though you got boom right hit right everywhere." And we're gonna actually make this guy go back to first base, and you're out. And we actually hit good balls later in that inning, which would have made us score 2 runs, which, as you know, would probably have tied or won the game. So that was the most unfortunate part of the game.
Yeah, that was frustrating. I mean, I was screaming at TV there. I'm still frustrated about that. Um, there's a runner at first. I think it was Talmadge LeCroy. Yeah, it was Talmadge LeCroy. Will Tippett lays down a bunt with no outs to move LeCroy to second. Throw is sailed, hits off Will Tippett's head. LeCroy goes to third. So you have first and third, no outs. They don't have any dirt on the base path to first, so you can't really tell Will Tippett's right where he should be. And the umpires decide he was off the line, move LeCroy back to first, 1 out. Then you struck out 2 times, and that opportunity was limited. And that could have easily been 2 runs right there. That changes the momentum of the game. And then another
He
awful
was
call
also
was,
clearly on the line.
yeah, he was really on the line. And another awful call was in the ninth inning. Dylan Brewer got hit by a pitch. They said he stuck his arm out, and he did not stick his elbow out at all. His elbow was in
It
the
was
same
perfectly
spot
fine.
that it was. This is just unacceptable. They're calling balls
Felt like chucking a
practically at
baseball
the
in my
ground.
ball. I felt like chucking a baseball in my ball. These umpires, they're everything wrong about baseball and more. They just exploited like all bad things. I don't think when players get hit on the base pass, they should be punished by like their team basically losing because of that in a regionals game. That was unnecessary. And when players get hit by pitch, they shouldn't be punished either. Also the strikes and balls call are really bad. I'm sorry, the shadow is in my face of my phone. This is odd, but the the umpires were just very bad, but it's not all their fault. The hitting was absolutely horrendous. Same with most of the problem was when we had runners on base, we could not bring them home for the life of us. There was another inning to where Ethan Petrie led off with a double, and we should have scored. Nothing bad happened with the umpire that inning. We should have scored at least 1 run, and we didn't. It was really frustrating. I really felt like checking a baseball. So I'm joking since my MLB team is doing bad and Gamecocks are done. Same with hockey. That it's already football season. So, but as you know, we'll be covering the off season and the Super Regionals, Regionals, and World Series. So it'll be once a week during the off season. Also after the regionals, Super Regionals, and updates during the World Series.
Yeah, Dylan Eskew pitched really well. I give it to him. 5.1 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Problem with Dylan Eskew was the 1 home run that he gave up, and then the same guy, um, his name was Matt Mancini, I believe. Yeah, Matt Mancini. He also hit a homer off Tyler Pitzer in the 8th inning. But the Gamecocks pitched really well. One of the best pitching performances of the year for SQ. He still gets to loss to go to 3-5 on the year, but we can blame it on the umpires. But the offense just didn't do its job. Frustrating game for sure, but it was a productive season, but very frustrating for it to come to an end.
I agree with the ESQ part. He also made a play that will likely be on SportsCenter top 10. He made a diving throw to first base to get a runner out. It was really cool. The defense was on par today. I don't think we had any errors at all. So it was all really good. We had some extraordinary plays.
Yeah, great defense. Yeah, you're right. We did not have any errors. That's the key to this Gamecock team. And we limited James Madison to only 2 runs. And if you told me at the beginning of the game, I would have been A-okay with that. One in the first, one in the 8th. I mean, you have your chances. And if you're not going to score 3 runs, I mean, that should have easily happened. We can blame it on the umpires, which is fair. You can do that. But at the end of the day, it's not doing anything for you. Your offense didn't click, and now you're going back home.
It's a really sad story, but I don't know, and you could see on everyone's face, especially Mark Kingston, they're all very frustrated. They knew that they disappointed themselves on offense. I bet you the pitchers are also very frustrated. JMU was really happy after the game. I couldn't help but notice the catcher was so happy he shook the umpire's hand after the game. I thought that was a little suspicious. But the JMU was really happy. It's good for them that they're making a regional final because they haven't made a regional in 9-10 years. So. Yeah. It's good for the coach. That's his first regional after being a long-time head coach for them. But I bet you our guys are super frustrated. We'll be getting right back to work next season and in the off season.
Yeah, I want to touch base on the NC State game. We couldn't get it to you. We just had some time conflicts, so we're getting that to you today. Will Tippett homered and Dylan Brewer homered twice. That was all the Gamecocks runs. And Garrett Gainey struggled for his first outing this year, really. He did go 6 innings pitched, but gave up 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. I mean, Garrett with an obscure day for him and might be his last pitching outing.
Yep. I just wanted to point out how clutch Will Tippett was in this regional. He had hit 2 home runs. He had hit that walkout sac fly. And if the call had stood, he would have hit a bunt that would have been safe and led a runner to third base. The only thing about Will Tippett is he was the strikeout at the end of the game. Even though I didn't think he even played bad in that at bat. He just sadly struck out.
Yeah, and I think this is something to look forward for next year. Will Tippett hit 7 home runs. He's improved on the right side, and he's going to get tons of reps just batting right-handed. So Will Tippett was a prized possession out of high school, hitting-wise and defensive-wise. And if you can figure out his batting this offseason, he could be a 5-6 hole hitter for you. That could be good right now. He's figured it out, and it looks really good for Will Tippett. And so hopefully he can continue that momentum on to next season. He can be one of your better hitters, because I was talking about this with you. You're going to lose 4 or 5, maybe 6 guys. We'll get to that next episode when we recap who's staying, who's leaving, guesstimates. But I mean, Will Tippett could be a good hitter for you next year.
I agree. Will Tippett is just one of those guys who I feel like he hasn't fully unlocked his full potential, but in the not the supers, I'm sorry, the regionals and the SEC tournament, I've seen definite improvement from him, and he's always been a solid on defense, one of our best defenders, if not the best on the team. I just fingers crossed he doesn't transfer out. That would just be a huge loss. I'm interested to see how the transfer portal goes for us. I'm sure we'll have a few surprise transfers coming in and coming out, just like in most sports for South Carolina.
Yeah, Gamecocks dipped into the portal a little bit last year. They added your 3 outfielders come the end of the season: Austin Brindling, Blake Jackson, and Kenny Jones, and you added Garrett Gainey and Ty Good out of the portal, which were your best pitchers to that. But it gave away Michael Braswell and players like that. I want to kind of recap the other regional scores. I'll kind of let you announce this, since it's kind of your thing. Yesterday, you had a couple big games, which included Wake Forest being eliminated 7-6 by ECU.
There was a lot of big games. There there's a lot of interesting things happening in these regionals. You have very like I believe I want you to check, but Evansville, yeah, they're a 4 seed. I get. I don't think they're gonna win. They're losing 10-5 to East Carolina right now. They're probably gonna lose tomorrow. But very impressive performances by Evansville. Some other impressive teams. You have Kentucky is. I thought they were gonna play bad. They played pretty well. Um, Texas A&M's playing how I thought they would play. I bet you Virginia versus Virginia's actually destroying Mississippi State right now. I thought this would be a crazy game. Its bases loaded with one out though. There's just these regionals have been some of the best I've ever saw. The Georgia regional, especially Georgia Tech, is now beating Georgia 5-3. It's very interesting games. The LSU versus North Carolina is amazing too. They're just the SEC has not been performing at their greatest, but I think it's also been good for the sport in a way because the sport as a whole, these regionals have been very good. But I just wanna have a count. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 SEC teams left. So that's not great at all.
And if you think about it, probably 2 or 3 of those have to win 2 games. I know LSU's beating North Carolina right now, but they're going to have to win tomorrow. Mississippi State's going to have to win today. Arkansas lost to, what's it called? SEMO today.
Mm-hmm.
That was shocking loss. They're eliminated. Vanderbilt lost to High Point yesterday. High Point's now eliminated. So these SEC teams have really struggled. And Florida's going to have to win too as well.
No, I want to. I made a mistake. I said there was 6 SEC teams left. I did not realize Florida won. There is actually 7 SEC teams left. I'm really rooting for the SEC, and all 7 are different regionals, meaning there could still be lots and lots of SEC teams in Omaha if they play well.
Yeah, for sure. But the SEC's not fully living up to expectations. I'll say Kentucky's about to get in, probably Texas A&M, Tennessee. Those are probably your locks, 3 locks. But I mean, Mississippi State, LSU, Florida, they're gonna have to win 2 straight. And a couple of them don't look like they can do it. So I mean, you could very well end up with 3 to 4 SEC teams just going into the super regionals. Also forgot about Georgia.
I want to point out that Mississippi State, they were in an elimination game today, so they're probably playing their last inning right now as they're in the top of the 9th, down 7-2. So we probably will be seeing only 6 teams left.
Yeah, and you might see only 4 or 3 teams going into the supers, and then Omaha. So the SEC is struggling right now. I'll give credit to the ACC. They've looked pretty good. They've showed up. We're talking about the ACC being that second premier conference, but not toppling the SEC. But the ACC is done pretty well, and Virginia's showing that right now.
If you look at the ACC as a whole, I mean, North Carolina, well, they're gonna lose today to LSU, but they will have a chance tomorrow. So that's 1. Clemson is gonna win their regional most likely. That's 2. Georgia Tech is probably gonna win today. Might play tomorrow. That would be 3. Florida State's gonna win. That's 4. NC State's probably gonna win. That's 5. Virginia's probably gonna win. That's 6. 6 teams from the ACC are gonna make a super regional, which will probably outdo the SEC's 5 or 4. So that's pretty a depressing fact for the SEC and good for the ACC.
Yeah, SEC is basically at 6 if we count Mississippi State out of it. So right now we're at least tied with the ACC, plus the 2 to 3 teams that are probably going to lose. So credit to the ACC, they've showed up come postseason play. Is there anything you want to say about like who you expect to go deeper? Because there are some surprise teams. You're talking about Evansville. You're talking about SEMO right now, even though they're probably going to lose to Kansas State and be eliminated. Is there any teams that you can see making it to Omaha, making it further, that surprised you, kind of these Oral Roberts of last year, Cinderella kind of stories?
I am going to go with. Hold up, I'm just gonna go with LSU. I know they're I consider any team that's not a national seed more of a Cinderella team. And LSU has been playing out of their minds in the North Carolina regional. They'll have to play tomorrow, but they're probably going to win today. LSU could go really deep. Georgia Tech is also a good one. They're beating Georgia currently. So I think LSU and Georgia Tech are the two teams I would say most likely as a lower seed that can go deep.
I want to talk about the Gamecocks roster next year. I know we'll get into this more, but has Cole Messina played his way into the top 3 rounds of the MLB draft, and will he stay as a member of the Gamecock? We know he's a leader. He's a prized possession. You've seen that more this year than you have last year, but I mean, you don't want to lose Cole Messina, but he might be leaving for the MLB. How do you think about his stock right now?
I'm sad to say it, but I see him as a first or second round pick, which means that most likely if he is smart, I mean, it sucks for the Gamecocks, but if he's smart for himself, it would be good to declare for the MLB draft if he were to be a first round or second round pick, which I've been reading some mock drafts and I see him listed as one first or second round. So yeah, I think he's probably gone.
Yeah, at some point you got to talk about what's best for them. You know, we like to associate the team, but eventually that's their life that they're playing, and you got to do what's best for them. I want to give credit to Ethan Petrie. He had 1 game out with a broken hand. I think that's the first game he's not started in all year. I mean, he even got a base hit, a double with the broken hand, and
Yeah.
then he sits out against NC State, which could have been why some of the offensive production was gone, but you can't fully blame it on that because then Dylan Brewer hit 2 home runs. Um, but credit to Dylan Brewer for stepping up. Dylan had a really great start to the season, and he never really sloped downhill, but it was just so many guys stepped up and were so good you couldn't keep them out of the lineup. It's
Yep.
just rough for Dylan, a 5th-year guy who's not going to be back next year. It's just a hard situation for him. But for Petrie to come back today, number one, credit to our trainers to get Petrie back out there. Corey Barton and his crew, I know they're very good. Good for them to work on the hand in the hotel, just get everything ready so that Petrie can come back out here today and have a really good game.
Yep. I am pleased by Petrie for that. I mean, you texted me seasons over for Petrie that he had that injury, and I was like, yeah, there's no way he's coming back from a broken bone. And the double, I just saw everything I love about Ethan Petrie in the double. I mean, that hit should have been a single. If you remember that double, we were like, why is he running? Why is he running? He just really showed his determination and how much he loves the team, and he slid on his broken hand in that double. I believe. He really showed how much he wanted to win, and it's honestly up to the rest of the team. He can't just solo the team, so it was kind of up to the rest of the team, and they did not provide for him. So I feel really bad for Petrie, but maybe that'll be a catalyst for him to not want to join the MLB, so that he can get his revenge and finally make Omaha.
Yeah, next year's going to be a big year for Petrie. Junior year, draft year, projected as a top 3 pick next year. We talked about it with Will Sanders. The hype was there, and he did not live up to expectation. I wasn't sure how good of a season Petrie was going to have just because of all the hype, but definitely a big year for Ethan Petrie next year. I think he's a guy that can handle the pressure, and I think he can be a top 3 pick. But next year's a really big year for Petrie, and I think next year's a year that he can really be valuable for this team, kind of like Cole Messina did this year.
Yep. Is there any other subjects you want to talk about?
No, I think that this will be it. We'll come back to you on Saturday. We'll give you super regional matchups. We'll wrap you up on all the coverage from the regionals. Thank you for listening to episode 9. Sorry it had to end 9 episodes for the Gamecock season. Can't wait for next season. We'll be with you throughout the summer, throughout next season. We're excited. We look forward to hopefully another Omaha year next year. Thank you for riding us with the journey. Please like, share, subscribe, 5 stars. My name is Patrick Brown.
I'm Daniel Helms, and thank you for listening.